I graduated high school with the #4 grade point average in my class. However, I went to one of the lowest performing schools in my state. I never had any homework, never had to study, never had to apply myself. I never was pushed. People always looked at me like, how do you make it look so easy? Well, to me it was easy, but unfortunately, that's the exact opposite of how the real world works. See, in the real world, nothing comes easy. You have to put in the effort. You have to put in the blood, the sweat, the tears. If it doesn't hurt a little bit, if it doesn't sting a little bit, if it doesn't make you a little uncomfortable, you probably won't get very much out of it. When I arrived at college, I quickly realized that I needed to study and really put a lot of time into it. But mentally, I just wasn't there. I was living way too reckless. I was nowhere close to being focused. Those poor choices led me to drop out, and instantly, I found myself in survival mode. Heard a wise man say, if you fail to plan, then naturally, you're planning to fail. And what I take that to mean is, each and every day, you're executing some type of game plan. That game plan is either going to lead you to massive success or massive failure. And see, what the 18-year-old me fresh out of high school failed to realize is that it wasn't going to be easy. It was going to require me to be all in. It was going to require me to apply myself. Something I'd never done in high school. Something no one around me had ever encouraged me to do. And that's why I'm encouraging you to dig a little deeper, to give a little bit more, to try a little bit harder, to go that extra mile, and understand that the reason why you're taking those classes, the reason why you're trying to get that degree, is because you are trying to design the lifestyle that you want to live. You're doing it for your future self. Because when you make the decision to stop progressing towards your degree, you're setting yourself up to live in survival mode, when your goal should be to get to thrival mode. No excuses. This is your life. You got to have a reason. You got to have a why. So when you don't know why, just remember, every step you take, every move you make, all of your daily actions are either leading you to success or they're leading you to failure. They either lead you to win or they lead you to lose. The choice is yours. So you get to choose. Don't be like me. Please, don't be like me. Living in survival mode is no joke. Survival mode is tough. So please, take heed and avoid the route I chose by any means necessary. I admit I was young, but life doesn't give you a pass based on your age. I need you to really listen. From the ages of 18 to 30, you should be eating a lot of ramen. Gary Vee would say you should be eating a lot of I won't say that. But you should be comfortable being broke. You should embrace the struggle as you work hard in school or on your business to design the lifestyle that you want to live in the future. I bet you didn't know that the average millionaire is 62 years old. And only 1% of all millionaires are under 35. So I want you to visualize the struggle of my life, or the struggle of other people who made similar choices like me. Mentally stressed and emotionally drained. All because we wanted to do it our way. But our way set us up to live in survival mode. And you're trying to design a lifestyle. So when you find yourself in that place where you want to drop out, you find yourself in that place where you want to give up, you find yourself in that place where you want to quit, you find yourself in that place where you want to throw in the towel, you hear that negative inner voice saying things like, I'm homesick, I don't want to be here, I'm broke, I can't take another test, I can't stand my professor. Just remember, if you walk out on school right now, you might be walking out on your future. And you cannot get that time back. So whether you're in school or not, time will keep on ticking. But one thing is for certain, whatever you're doing right now, whatever you're doing tomorrow is leading you to your future life. It can be a great life, or it can be a hard life. Remember, the choice is yours. So I implore you to take a moment and think. I implore you to remember these 5 things I'm going to tell you right now as it relates to your future self. It's not going to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. I always say, I could have took the easy route. But there is no easy route. So number 1, you've got to be patient. But the problem is, in this day and age, nobody wants to be patient. Everybody wants instant gratification. We're living in the microwave age of social media. When you post something, you immediately want a successful response. How many likes I get? How many comments I get? How many followers I get? Patience is a virtue. And life could care less about social media. Success is a slow grow. And at times you'll feel like you're not making any progress. But you gotta keep grinding. You have to take it one day at a time and let one day become 2, and 2 become 3, and 3 become 4, and a week becomes a month, and a month becomes a year. And before you know it, you're arriving at your desired destination of graduation. So please, keep exercising your patience muscle. Number 2, I want you to see the success. I want you to visualize yourself in 10 years. I want you to visualize yourself in 20 years. Do you like what you see? How much money are you making? What kind of car are you driving? How big is your house? See, it all leads back to what you're doing right now. Your present self will set you up for whatever you have or don't have in the future. See, you're the architect. So you create the design. You create the layout. And right now, you're simply building the foundation. And if your foundation is strong, meaning you're executing your plan on a daily basis, the day will come when your original blueprint turns into the castle of your dreams. So you have to see the success, because when you can visualize the greatest you in the future, it gives you something to work toward. It motivates you. It empowers you. It empowers you to push through even when you want to quit. It empowers you to push through even when you want to give up. It empowers you to push through when you feel like you can't take no more. It empowers you to push through no matter what obstacles life throws your way. Number 3, make sure you're hanging with winners. Surround yourself with a winner circle of positive influences and positive people. You can't run with the cheetahs if you're walking with the turtles. If you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Are the people that you're hanging with every day serious about going to class? Are the people that you're hanging with serious about going to the next level? Are the people that you're hanging with serious about being successful? Number 4, build relationships. You don't go to class every day and not build meaningful relationships. Later on in life, these are the same people that may be able to offer you a job. The same people that you may go into business with. The same people that may own the bank that you request a loan from. So make sure you're adding value to as many people as possible. Be likable. Show genuine care and concern. And please make sure you're not burning bridges. Number 5, don't let relationships break you. Relationships control our mental state way too much. She broke up with me. He left me. Why is she ignoring me? He cheated on me and I don't know what to do. I can't function no more. I can't go on without this person. Yes, you can. You have to. You must. You're not the first person to be part of a relationship that ended. You have to love you some you. You have to find a way to make sure that you believe in yourself enough. You believe in your heart of hearts enough to make sure that you don't let a relationship break you. So never be surprised at the actions of another person, and always, always save a piece of your heart for yourself, and never allow relationships to break you. This is your life, so make sure you're respecting your personal brand. This is your life, so make sure you avoid doing detrimental things that lead you to living in survival mode. This is your life, so make your future self proud by working hard to tap into your wildest dreams of being great. So ultimately, you designed a lifestyle of greatness that you were born to live. This is a great day to win.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, check out our new 5-day memory mastery course in partnership with Superhuman Academy. Click the link in the description below and enroll today.
Before the start of a new semester, our motivation levels tend to be at an all-time high, especially if it's around New Year's and we're setting goals and resolutions and making all of these glorious plans about how we're going to completely change as people and have perfect habits and never procrastinate again. And then, unfortunately, as the actual semester starts, usually at least 1 to 2 weeks in, we start to realize that our motivation levels have completely dropped, and not only do we not feel like doing any work, we've just realized that we have an entire whole semester in front of us that we have to go through, and the end of the semester is months and months away. So as our classes pile up and the work gets more and more difficult, our motivation levels get lower and lower, and all of our resolutions and goals tend to just go out of the window, and we go back to being our old selves and pretty much just doing the bare minimum that we have to do to survive. So how do we get motivated enough to keep ourselves going and not ever really fall into a slump or periods of procrastination, and basically just overall stay motivated and work hard throughout the entire semester? So the first thing that you need to realize when it comes to self-motivation to study is the fact that grades in themselves are not really motivating at all. Unlike things like work or cleaning, where we usually get money, where we can spend the money on things that we like clothes or food, or with cleaning, where we get instant gratification, where we can actually enjoy our clean rooms and our organized space. Unlike those two examples, grades don't really impact our life in any shape or form. Sure, we have our A's sitting in some database somewhere, so whenever we study really hard and get a certain grade, we don't really feel anything really emotional. We just usually get relieved or happy we didn't completely fail, but it doesn't really impact our life or change our lives or really give us any emotions. And the flip side of this is the reason that we're so motivated to constantly spend time on our phones watching something or being on social media or hanging out with our friends rather than studying. The reason is we get instant gratification. In that moment, you are spending time with your friends or watching a movie and feeling good. You experience the emotions of happiness or laugh at something funny immediately in that moment, not 3 months later or 5 years later. And it's that realization that each grade is not really the end goal, but just a stepping stone to a larger goal, that is really important to first realize that grades in themselves don't motivate us. So even when we say our goal is to get straight A's, it's just not enough to get us to be motivated and work really hard right now. So once you really realize that, you'll start to realize that you need something a bit bigger than just grades to motivate yourself to study. So in a sense, our brain and our motivation is just like an onion. Yes, an onion. And our motivation levels have layers. So as you peel each layer off, you'll start to realize that the real motivation that will get you through all of your weakest moments and when you feel lazy is a lot deeper than just grades. So I recommend doing this in a journal or on several pieces of paper, since it can get pretty detailed depending on how many questions you ask. But pretty much the first thing that you need to do to figure out how to motivate yourself is to keep asking yourself why you're doing what you're doing. So after you set the goal of I want to get good grades, you ask, why do I want to get good grades? Why do I need good grades? What will they help me accomplish? And then once you've answered that question, you can ask, why do I want to be at the top of my class? Or why do I want to get into a good university? And as you start to question why you want to do what you want to do, you'll start to understand what your motivations are and how your brain works and where are you even going in the first place. Which is really important, because if you want to be motivated, you need to first know where you're going and what are you trying to motivate yourself to do. If you're going into a career path that you completely hate and you're only doing it just because it's cool or because your parents think it's good, the truth is you might just be self-sabotaging yourself and subconsciously trying not to get good grades because you simply just don't want to be doing what you're doing. And it might be better to just acknowledge that and realize, well, maybe I want to do something else in my life and work really hard at that rather than this path. So there can be a lot of reasons why you're not feeling motivated, and it could also be that you just feel lost and you don't really know what you want to do with your life, and it feels so overwhelming that you don't want to think about it and you just instead procrastinate and don't really work hard. And answering these questions can also help you realize what do you want to do with your life, or if even things like getting into a good university would maybe help you figure out what you want to do. You can even look at it as the more classes you take and the more opportunities you try and get good grades at, the more you realize which paths you want to follow and which subjects are interesting to you versus which ones are not. And as you can see, all of these questions can go in a lot of different ways, so there's not really one specific way you can do this, but just keep asking yourself different questions and trying to figure out how your brain works and what you really want from your life, and if you're doing what you're doing for yourself and what you feel really passionate about, or if you're just doing it for other people, which might not actually be motivating to you at all. It's at this moment that you realize what's really important to you, whose opinions are important to you. Maybe you really do respect your parents and you really love them and you agree with them that this certain path that you want to follow is important, so you do want to also make your parents proud, and that can also be a great end goal. And it really just depends on you and your situation. But the most important thing is to finally eventually get to that last line where you have that end goal. And that end goal doesn't have to be, you know, exactly where you want to be 20 years from now. Actually, that might not be the best end goal because it's so far away that it's not even really visible to you and you don't really know what it's going to be like, so it's not very motivating. The best end goals tend to be pretty recent, so the next major step in your life. For instance, it could be university, or it could be entering into a certain career field, something that you can really imagine and envision in your head and see and imagine yourself there. The reason that this final thing that will make you really excited and passionate and is that you need to have that vision of your future self constantly playing in your head on a daily basis. So you need to write it down in your planner, in your phone, think about it maybe every single night before you go to sleep, or write it down in your journal, and have it constantly running in your mind. The more you start thinking about that future version of yourself, so for instance, if it's you at a top college, the more you start to realize that each step that you're taking towards that end goal is super important. Each grade, each assignment, each test that you give is really important and just a small drop into the larger goal. The problem with our motivation levels is that usually what happens is we get sucked into today and we're just focusing on, I have to get an A on this next assignment, I have to do this, I have to do that, and we feel unmotivated because we're just focusing on how much work we have to do, rather than why we need to do the work and where are we actually going. That way, the more that you focus on your future end goal, the more you start to break out of your laziness and procrastination, and you feel more and more excited that you're getting closer and closer to that future goal, rather than just drowning in all the work that you have to do now. And it also really helps you get out of a slump or any situation where you start to feel like your bad habits are taking over. And all of these questions might take a bit of a while, and it's definitely something that you might not be able to do in 1 to 2 days. It could take even up to a couple weeks to a month, but it doesn't take too much time. Just think about each question until you feel really confident about your answer, and just keep breaking it down more and more until you finally see a version of yourself that you would be really proud of and passionately feel like this is the best version of you that you can imagine at a certain stage in your life. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it interesting and helpful. This technique has definitely been really helpful for me. So that's all I have for today's video, and yeah, bye guys.